Hi students, I am Sonia from Vidya Guru, starting a new session on current affairs. This session is for the month of March. That means I am referring to March 2021. The current affairs for the month of March 2021, you are going to learn approximately 60 new important points. The points which are super significant, super relevant, super important for your competitive exam. The exam you will be taking, if that has the section of current affairs, these questions are super relevant for your exam. Whatever time you will be spending, please watch the video till the end. Please watch the entire session. And if you understand everything, please press the like button for sure. Share the video with your friends so that they can get the benefit of this session. And do subscribe to Vidya Guru's YouTube channel. Press the bell icon which is just beside the subscribe button. That's how you will receive notifications. Whenever Vidya Guru uploads an exam relevant video, you will get the notification of the same and you will be able to watch that video. From here on I'll be starting, but I want to tell you, as this session is in English medium, that means complete English medium. If you are not comfortable with the language, you can switch to the Hindi session, that is also there in the playlist. This English medium session is short primarily for our students from South India, is short primarily for our students from Northeast India who are unable to understand Hindi well. We shoot a separate session for them. Okay, I'll start from here on. National Film Awards. I'll be starting with National Film Awards. As you can see, the edition of National Film Awards, that is 67th. So from here on, the first question starts. Best Feature Film. Marakkad was the best feature film. Marakkad, that means Lion of the Arabian Sea. That's the complete name, Marakkad, Lion of the Arabian Sea. It is a Malayalam movie, received National Award in the category of Best Feature Film. When I move ahead, Best Actor. Best Actor was given to Manoj Bajpayee. Manoj Bajpayee for the movie Bhonsle, and that movie was in Hindi language. The language is also important. Read that language because I've mentioned it. The languages are also asked in the exam. Dhanush also received Best Actor award for the Tamil movie Asuran. Asuran was the name of the Tamil movie for which Dhanush also received Best Actor award. When I move ahead, Best Actress award was given to Kangana Ranaut. Kangana Ranaut for the movie Manikarnika and Panga. Both the movies were in Hindi language. I'll actually be talking about other things here on. From here on, Best Director. Best Director, Sanjay, Puran, Singh, Chauhan. The name is a little, on the longer side, but learn it because it is important. For Bahattar Hoorain. Bahattar Hoorain, Hindi movie Bahattar Hoorain. For this movie, Sanjay, Puran, Singh, Chauhan received Best Director Award. Best Supporting Actor was given to Vijay Sethupathi. Vijay Sethupathi for the movie Super Deluxe. Super Deluxe does not mean anything else. It is a movie in Tamil language. So for Super Deluxe, Vijay Sethupathi received Best Supporting Actor. That means I'm referring to national awards here. Best Supporting Actress was given to Pallavi Joshi. Pallavi Joshi received this award for the Tashkent Files. Tashkent Files was in Hindi. I've actually mentioned it here also. Best Children's Film was Kasturi. Kasturi is also the movie in Hindi language, and such a category is also there. That is why I've mentioned it. This is also important, Best Children's Film, because these questions are asked in the exam. You cannot read each and everything. You cannot talk about each and every award. I've taught you what I felt is important from the perspective of the exam. Let's move ahead. Best Popular Film for Wholesome Entertainment. That means such a category is also there. Best Popular Film for Wholesome Entertainment. That is Maharishi. Maharishi is the movie in Telugu language. This movie received the award in the category of Best Popular Film for Wholesome Entertainment. Best Hindi Film, Chichore. Best Film on Social Issues. Best Film on Social Issues, Anandi Gopal. Anandi Gopal is the movie in Marathi. So for Anandi Gopal received Best Film on Social Issues. Best Film on National Integration. Best Film on National Integration, Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is in Marathi. Social Issues, Anandi Gopal, National Integration, National Unity. So best film on National Integration, National Unity, Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is in Marathi. The languages are important too. Please learn them. Let's move ahead. A few important days are there The first one is 22nd March. We observe World Water Day. World Water Day is observed on 22nd March. The theme was very apt, very appropriate. Valuing water. Valuing water was the theme for World Water Day, which is observed on 22nd March. You must be thinking that the lower point is not associated with the upper one, but it is. You can relate it. When I'm talking about World Water Day and I'm referring to Jal Shakti, that means they are associated, they are linked. So Jal Shakti Abhiyan, the name of the Abhiyan, the name of that Abhiyan is Catch the Rain. Jal Shakti Abhiyan is Catch the Rain. I hope you can understand when I talk about catch the rain, I'm referring to rainwater conservation. We are trying to conserve the rainwater. We are trying to conserve rainwater. Catch the Rain is the name of Jal Shakti Abhiyan, and it was launched by Jal Shakti Ministry. Here the Minister of Jal Shakti becomes important for us. His name is Gajendra Singh Shekhawat. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, Jal Shakti Minister. Earth Hour. Earth Hour was started by WWF. That means it was, when I mention it like that, it is organized by WWF. It means the same. So WWF started Earth Hour. When I say Earth Hour, hour word is important. That means we observe something for an hour only. That's the case. From 8:30 to 9:30 we observe that. Let's be clear on that. Earth Hour for Mother Earth. What we are doing, we are actually switching off all the lights across the globe, switching off all the lights across the globe for 1 hour from 8:30 to 9:30. But when? This year we did that on 27th of March. This year we did that on 27th March at 8:30 p.m. But not every year we do it on 27th March. This happens on the last Saturday of March. This is observed on last Saturday of March. Earth Hour is observed on every last Saturday of March. So don't forget that. Keep every detail in your mind. Let's move ahead with the other question, which is about World Met Day. It is generally called Met Day because meteorological is difficult to pronounce probably. So we are talking about weather. So World Met Day is observed on 23rd of March. The theme which was kept, that was the ocean, our climate and weather. 23rd March is the day when we observe World Met Day. The theme was the ocean, our climate and weather. World Tuberculosis Day. The state of India remains, I feel that it is not very good in terms of TB. So World TB Day is important, significant for all of us. World TB Day is observed on 24th March and the theme was the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. That was the theme for TB Day, World TB Day, which is observed on 24th March. When I move ahead, I'll move to 21st March. 21st March is the date when we observe it as International Day of Forest as well as World Poetry Day. So World Poetry Day is also observed on 21st March along with International Day of Forest. So I'm talking about the theme for International Day of Forest, that is Forest Restoration, a Path to Recovery and Well-being. Forest restoration, we have to restore the forest. So Forest Restoration, a Path to Recovery and Well-being, that was the theme for International Day of Forest, which is observed on 21st March. Let's move ahead. Winner of Vijay Hazare Trophy. Vijay Hazare Trophy, the legendary player in the name of legendary player Vijay Hazare, that is Vijay Hazare Trophy, which is also known as Ranji One Day Trophy. So when I talk about Vijay Hazare Trophy, the state teams take part in that. That is why the winner is Mumbai. That means the state team, Mumbai is the team. Mumbai is the team, and I'm saying that state teams take part in that. Winner of Vijay Hazare Trophy 2021 Mumbai. Runner-up team was Uttar Pradesh. Runner-up team was Uttar Pradesh. Most of the times winners are not asked, runner-ups are asked. That is why I have to teach runner-ups also. Please be careful when you actually learn. Don't learn the name of the winner only. The runner-up is equally significant. Player of India England Test Series. I'm talking about R. Ashwin. Player of, the upper one was associated with cricket. Legendary cricket player Vijay Hazare. That is why winner of Vijay Hazare Trophy Mumbai That means I was referring to cricket. Even in the lower points, I'm referring to cricket only. R. Ashwin is also associated with cricket. India, England test series. When we move ahead, we'll talk about T20 series. We'll talk about ODI series also. Here I'm talking about test series. Be careful of the words. So R. Ashwin was the player of the test series, player of this test series. India-England test series I'm referring to. R. Ashwin, Ravichandran Ashwin I'm talking about. Player of ICC Player of the Month. For February 2021, again R. Ashwin. Are you aware? Have you watched my previous videos? I feel you have. I have actually mentioned the name of this Player of the Month, ICC Player of the Month. It was recently launched title. This title did not exist earlier. It was recently launched. I am saying ICC Player of the Year exists. ICC Player of the Decade do exist too. But here I am referring to ICC Player of the Month, which is pretty new for most of you. I am saying I've taught that in the previous video. It is a recently launched thing. So ICC Player of the Month for the month of February was R. Ashwin. Learn that. Let's move ahead. Households provided with tap water connections. Such a thing seems, or such a thing sounds very insignificant, but things are actually relevant. You even know that tap water availability is, something great sort of for us. So households provided with tap water connections under Jal Jeevan Mission, 4 crores. I am not talking about the amount 4 crore here. I am talking about the households which got benefited, which received the tap water connection. Households which received tap water connection, they are 4 crores. Households are 4 crores which got benefited with this scheme of tap water under Jal Jeevan Mission. First state, as you guys can make out from when you read the first point, you won't find it that significant, but when you learn the second point and the fourth point, you will assume, I hope you'll be able to understand. If you actually study current affairs on your own as well, you'll be able to see that these questions can be asked. First state with 100% tap water supply, Goa. First union territory with 100% tap water supply, Andaman and Nicobar. So Andaman and Nicobar, first union territory. First state Goa, second state Telangana. So when I actually talk about these three, learn their names. They are more important than the upper point. Let's move ahead. IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India. That means a body which regulates insurances. I am talking about that. So that IRDAI revises limits for mandatory standard health insurance policy. There is one mandatory standard health insurance policy is there, that is Arogya Sanjeevani. The name of it is Arogya Sanjeevani, which is a mandatory standard health insurance policy. IRDAI has revised its limits. Whichever health insurance policy is there, they must have, generally it happens that they have some limits. So the limit has been revised of this mandatory standard health insurance policy, that is the minimum sum insured is 50,000 only and maximum sum insured in Arogya Sanjeevani will be 10 lakh. Maximum sum insured will be 10 lakh. So that is the revised limit I've mentioned here. Let's move ahead. Gandhi Peace Prize 2020 conferred on Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Must be thinking that he is somebody we are not aware of. You are very well aware of it. You are very well aware of the name also. A few videos back, or even in the last video, I've mentioned the name that our Prime Minister Modi visited Bangladesh on their 50th celebration, 50th Independence Day celebration. He visited Bangladesh. So I was saying that even in that video, I've mentioned who Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is the father of the nation for Bangladesh. Like we have Mahatma Gandhi for India, they have Sheikh Mujibur Rahman as their father of nation. Bangladesh father of the nation is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who's famous as Banga Bandhu. He received Gandhi Peace Prize. That means the prize was conferred on Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Gandhi Peace Prize is actually awarded by Government of India only. this award was given to him. Let's move ahead. One mobile application was launched. This mobile application is Mera Ration. Obviously, it is about ration only. It has been launched under One Nation, One Ration Card scheme. The name of the scheme is One Nation, One Ration Card, because we have seen, in the past days that One Nation, One Ration Card sort of things have, do happen. So such a scheme is there, and under this scheme, one mobile app was launched. The name of the mobile app is Mera Ration. When I move ahead, I'll talk about one medical treatment, cashless medical treatment, and here I'll be talking about the convergence of ESI scheme and Ayushman Bharat PMJ scheme. When I talk about convergence, learn it like that. When you converge, you merge. When you converge, you merge. So I'm saying convergence is happening. Some merger of two schemes, that is happening. So merger of ESI scheme and Ayushman Bharat PMJ scheme for cashless medical treatment, but in a few, that means in a number of states, they are Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. These are the places where ESI and ESI scheme and Ayushman Bharat PMJ schemes will get merged for medical treatment. When I talk about ESI, when ESI is mentioned, Labour Minister, that means Labour and Employment Minister has to be talked about. So Labour and Employment Ministry is handled by Minister of State Independent Charge Santosh Kumar Gangwar. That means there is no union minister over him. He is independently handling that ministry. That is why independent charge, Minister of State Independent Charge Santosh Kumar Gangwar. Let's move ahead. Winner of Vyasaman, Sharad Pagade, winner of Vyasaman 2020. The year is significant. Learn that year too. For 2020, that means he received this award, Vyasaman. When I'm not mentioning any language here, I am talking about Hindi only, because Vyasaman is actually given to people who who have actually done remarkable work in Hindi. So his work was appreciated. Sharad Pagade received it for the book Patliputra Ki Samragi. That's the name of his book. Patliputra Ki Samragi is a Hindi book, is written in Hindi, and he is a famous writer of Hindi. Sharad Pagade received Vyasaman. Vyasaman is given by KK Birla Foundation. Vyasaman is given by KK Birla Foundation. Don't forget that. Keep that in mind too. President presents Baton of Honor. Baton of Honor is given to Kiran Bedi this time. She was the LG of Puducherry earlier. She is not the LG right now. She is given the Baton of Honor. Baton of Honor for the work she did in Puducherry as LG. Let's move ahead. India to take part in Shanghai Cooperation Organization Anti Terrorism Exercise. So one SCO Anti Terrorism Exercise is there in which India took part. And the place was Tashkent, Uzbekistan. The name of the exercise is a little difficult and different. That is Pabbi-Antiterror 2021. That's the name of the exercise. The exercise took place in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Don't forget the names. Everything, each and every point is important. Passage exercise held under Operation Sankalp. What is Operation Sankalp? I'll be talking about that also. But first, learn what I'm saying. Passage exercise between India and Bahrain under Operation Sankalp. What is Operation Sankalp and why did this take place under Operation Sankalp? See, Operation Sankalp is a maritime security operation. Maritime, I'm referring to sea. So sea security operation, maritime security operation, sea security operations for Indian ships, for the safety of Indian ships. I am not talking about all the Indian ships. I am saying the Indian ships passing the Strait of Hormuz. Those Indian ships I'm referring to safeguard them. This Operation Sankalp is in practice, into practice. Operation Sankalp is a sea security operation for the safety of Indian ships which are passing Strait of Hormuz. When I talk about Strait of Hormuz, I wish to explain something about it as well. Strait is a narrow passage. Strait is a narrow passage which unites actually two large water bodies. Strait is a narrow passage which joins two large water bodies, like two seas are joining with that narrow passage. So that narrow passage is strait. I'm saying Strait of Hormuz is between Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. Strait of Hormuz is between Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. That narrow passage is Strait of Hormuz. And I'm saying that Strait of Hormuz where Indian ships are passing, they should be secured under Operation Sankalp. So exercise between India and Bahrain. Let's move ahead. India to invest 6 lakh crores. They'll not be investing the money anywhere. I'm saying they'll be investing 6 lakh crores till 2035 under the development, for the development of around 574 port projects. They'll be developing 574 port projects by the 6 lakh crore. They'll be investing it till 2035, and the name of that project is Sagar Mala project. So Sagar Mala project, under this project they'll be investing this much in the ports development. Let's move ahead. Ports, I'm referring to seaports basically. So deemed residual maturity of Basel III AT1 bonds until 31st March 2021. Mark it as super important. The question is going to be there in your exam for sure. Even when I say what is AT, AT is additional tier. So AT1 is additional tier 1. Even that is important. The full form of additional tier 1 can also be asked. Even that minor detail be there in your exam. Be focused. When I read the upper statement, I hope many of you did not understand anything at all. I'll try to explain that. But what are AT1? I'll start with that from here on. AT1 are actually perpetual bonds. AT1 are perpetual bonds. Additional tier 1 bonds are perpetual bonds. Perpetual means permanent, which do not have any, these bonds do not have any maturity date. They don't get terminated. They are perpetual bonds. They are permanent bonds. They just go on. They don't have any maturity date. So what different thing has happened? Why I'm teaching you? If they don't have any maturity date, why I'm mentioning 10 years and 100 years? Why I'm talking about that? Securities Exchange Board of India has come up with some maturity date, some timeline. They have set some timeline. SEBI has set some timeline for these additional tier 1 bonds too. Yes, although they are perpetual, although they are permanent bonds, although they do not have any maturity date, but SEBI has come up with some maturity date for them also. That is what you have to learn. When I move ahead, I want to talk about Basel III. See, Basel III norms are international regulatory norms for the international banking sector. See, international banking sector, to mitigate the risk, to lessen the risk, international banking has risk. To mitigate that risk, this regulatory body, Basel III regulatory norms were set actually. So I am saying, what is the limit? From here on, I'll be talking about the limits, and the limits are such. From 1st April 2023, not now, 2023, from 1st April 2023, if these 81 bonds are issued, their limit will be 100 years from the date of maturity. Their limit will be 100 years. Their timeline will be 100 years from the date when they are issued. When I talk about the upper point, I am saying that deemed residual maturity of Basel III 81 bond until 31st March 2022. When they are issued till this particular time, I'm talking about the previous one. The ones which will be issued from 1st April 2023, they'll have the maturity timeline of 100 years, but the previous ones which were issued earlier, they have set some timeline for those as well. For them, the residual remaining maturity is going to be 10 years for the previous ones, and the newer ones will have the maturity of 100 years from this date and from that date. So till this date, 31st March 2022, the maturity date will be 10 years. I'm saying from 1st April 2023, the maturity date from the date of purchase will be 100 years. Let's move ahead. Standing External Advisory Committee for evaluating applications for universal banks and small finance banks licenses. People, organizations, companies do apply for universal banks, to be universal banks, to be small finance banks, to acquire licenses. They apply. What are these committees, evaluating? They are assessing something, they are actually trying to evaluate something, they are trying to assess something. Shyamala Gopinath Committee. Shyamala Gopinath Committee is a standing external advisory committee, is an advisory committee, consider it like that. Shyamala Gopinath is the advisory committee for what? For evaluating applications. Which applications? The applications which are applying to be universal bank, the applications which are applying to be small finance banks. So, Shyamala Gopinath Committee is associated with universal bank license and small finance bank licenses. Let's move ahead. Number 1 rank in International Shooting Sport Federation, Shooting World Cup, India. The countries do take part in shooting World Cups. If the World Cup is taking place, we all know that India is also participating. This shooting World Cup took place in New Delhi. That means the venue was New Delhi. I have mentioned that. And India stood first. India got the number 1 rank in shooting World Cup. When I talk about the next point, it is obviously different from the upper one. 2021 Asian Boxing Championship venue, New Delhi. 2021 Asian Boxing Championship venue, New Delhi. Please don't forget that New Delhi is going to be the venue for Asian Boxing Championship, which will take place in 2021 only. Let's move ahead. India-England T20 series. The player of the series was Virat Kohli for this T20 series. Captain of England T20 series was Ian Morgan. Please don't forget his name. If you forget that, you may lose a point in your exam. Ian Morgan remained the captain, was the captain of England T20 team. Man of India, England ODI series. Now I am talking about one day international. So one day international series of India and England. Earlier I talked about test series. I have mentioned T20 series also. We played too much of cricket. So that is why you have to learn this much, about cricket. So ODI, one day international series, Man of India, England ODI series, Johnny Bairstow. Johnny Bairstow is the name of the fellow who remained man of the ODI series, India-England ODI series I'm referring to. Let's move ahead. First Indian to be elected chairperson of Advisory Committee of United Nations Human Rights Council, Ajay Malhotra. This is happening for the very first time that any Indian, to be elected the chairperson of Advisory Committee of United Nations Human Rights Council. United Nations Human Rights Council. One Indian has become the chairperson for it. Chairperson of Advisory Committee only, and his name is Ajay Malhotra. First Indian cinema personality to win FIAF award, Amitabh Bachchan. What are FIAF awards? International Federation of Film Archives, that's the full form of FIAF. International Federation of Film Archives, that's the full form of FIAF award. You may find the short form strange, but that's the full form of FIAF award. And first Indian to receive it is Amitabh Bachchan. Let's move ahead. India signs MOU on public service recruitment with Afghanistan. What is important here? India and Afghanistan. On what issue? Public service recruitment. What is important in the next point? MOC was signed on water cooperation between India and Japan. MOU was signed on cooperation in sports and youth affairs between India and Maldives. So we'll learn it like that. When I'm going to mention it again, India and Afghanistan, they have signed on public service recruitment. India and Japan on water cooperation. India and Maldives on youth affairs, sports and youth affairs. So they have actually signed agreements on the issues. The issues are important, and the name of the countries with which India signed these agreements, they are important too. Let's move ahead. SEBI forms expert committee to check feasibility of SPACs. When I talk about SPACs, you may not consider it important, but that is super significant. SPAC means Special Purpose Acquisition Companies. Special Purpose Acquisition Companies. Do understand by the name also. When SEBI has, formed this expert committee, when SEBI has formed some expert committee on the issue, on checking the feasibility or viability, or can the SPACs be put into practice, can SPACs be used? What are SPACs? Let's explain the term first. Special Purpose Acquisition Companies. They are basically shell companies. They do not have core business functions. They do not have their own core business operations. They are just shell companies. So SPAC is a shell company. If any private company, if any private firm wants to be a public company, they generally come up with an IPO, initial public offering, but they are not straight away willing to launch an IPO. What they are doing? SPAC is a shell company. It is a publicly listed company. If public is willing to invest money in this company, they'll be investing the money in that shell company, in that SPAC. Later on, see, this SPAC is listed on behalf of this private company which is not willing to launch its own IPO. So I am saying this SPAC will be merged with this private company later on. People will invest in this shell company, people will invest in this SPAC. Later on, this SPAC will be merged with this private company only. So these are SPACs actually, and I am saying SEBI has formed an expert committee to understand, to check the feasibility, the viability of SPACs. Let's move ahead. India launches artificial intelligence initiative with USA. As you can see, the page is about USA. I've mentioned everything about USA. What we went through in the past with USA. Artificial intelligence initiative was signed with USA. One passage exercise also took place even earlier. I talked about the passage exercise. This is different because this passage exercise took place between India and USA, and the venue is also different. It is Eastern Indian Ocean region. The earlier one was between India and Bahrain. Now I'm talking about the passage exercise held between India and USA in Eastern Indian Ocean region. When I move ahead, a dialogue is to be resumed. India to continue Homeland Security dialogue with USA. Here, US Defense Secretary becomes important for us because we have talked a lot about the defense with USA. If we are in conversation with USA, who will be, speaking on behalf of the defense of USA? The Defense Secretary. So, US Defense Secretary is Lloyd Austin. Lloyd Austin is the US Defense Secretary. Here I'll be actually wrapping it up. If you understood everything, please do press the like button. If you could not, you can re-watch the video. Else you have the option of watching the Hindi video also. Thank you so much for watching.